And welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot. I'm here with writer John Ryan and owner, CEO, sometimes cameraman, occasional pickup goalkeeper, Gary Green.
Bartender.
That is true. We got another, what is that, the season ticket holder meet and greet next week?
Yes, I will not be there. Unfortunately, I'm here this week, but not next week.
Okay. Are you going to be too busy skiing? And
I got two little ones now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You just had another daughter this past fall.
I have four kids, and I have an 18-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 3-month-old.
And two minor league baseball teams, and
Three
minor league baseball teams, and a professional soccer team that's trying to push through legislation to get a stadium built in Omaha.
Yes.
Do you have time?
Yes. I have plenty of time for this podcast.
All right.
I do.
So,
and it's great to be here with you guys.
We try and have you on at least once a year, the kind of State of Union.
I feel like I have more content than that if you want to put me on a second time.
Well, I suppose we could probably make that. We found out last year, especially with that Open Cup run, and hoping with a repeat there, that we've got a lot more season than we used to.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm more the better for the business side, and probably not so much on the soccer technical side.
Yeah, but to the same extent, you're a fan.
Yeah.
Like as much as you own it, but you're a fan as much as we are.
Mm-hmm.
We can see from the day one, meeting you of, okay, this is very business, to the days you started watching the games, and are like, okay. When we joke about you being a cameraman, the very first game at Gillette, and you pulled out the ESPN Plus feed, went out, you pulled out your phone, your assistant was videoing that for 2 packed bars of people that threw Instagram Live up on big screen TVs.
That was awesome.
Like that's stuff of club legend at this
point. That was for more than a half too, wasn't it?
Yeah, because ESPN Plus did not come back up, and that was first game in club history.
Yep, and I remember there was 6 of us at Gillette Stadium, and there was no catering, so I had to order a pizza through Uber Eats. That guy came, the delivery guy came, they let him into the stadium, they let him up, and we had pizza.
Hey, 2020 was a weird year for launching a professional team.
Yeah. I think post-COVID, though, they didn't open concessions for baby revs, so that might not have been COVID.
Well, there definitely were some changes, now that they're in a different league that I don't know how that functions. It's just a money laundering scheme.
What, the MLS Next?
Yeah.
Don't know much about it. You guys can probably tell me more about it.
They used, I believe they used AI to try and film some of their games, and it did not go well.
Okay.
Yeah, because they don't have a broadcast deal. They were doing it all YouTube or MLS.com or something there.
Okay.
And
so it's not part of the Apple TV deal?
I don't believe so.
I believe one time the camera thought the referee's head, because he was bald, was the ball.
Okay.
And that's why.
That's an honest mistake.
But let's the biggest question we threw out to Twitter, and JR, I don't know, since we're using my phone for this, if you can pull up Twitter for questions, but the biggest questions, and it's business related at this point, and I think every time you've been on the pod, every time I've seen you, it's been the obligatory, so when are we getting a stadium?
But somebody did ask what my favorite 5 restaurants were.
Well, we'll get there. Because that falls more in line with the G League and professional volleyball question. Like we're getting it, but you're not dancing around this.
No, absolutely. I don't want to dance around it. It's all if you ask my wife, I stay up at the ceiling, look up at the ceiling all night and think about this and dream about this, and actually, it's all I think about. So, we're shooting for 25.
Okay.
You don't shoot for 26 because then it ends up being 27. So shooting for 25, probably ends up being 26. As you saw from the front page of the newspaper this week, we're making progress.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting a lot of no's. 10 years ago, you tell people, and tell the mayor, we want a professional soccer stadium, you get thrown out of the office.
Yeah.
I walked into the mayor's office and I said, look, you can't be top 50 city in the country. She corrected me. She says, we're 38, or 39, I forget.
We'll say 38.
You can't be a top 50 city in the country without a professional soccer and a professional soccer stadium. And 10 years ago, we get laughed out of any office. We haven't gotten any no's. I think that people in Omaha, and not just Omaha, throughout the country, realize that statement is accurate. It's interesting because I'm from New York. We don't worry about keeping our young people. We know we will. They'll stay there. It's you live in Denver. You don't worry about keeping your young people. But in the secondary and tertiary cities in this country, they're all like fighting to keep their young people, and we keep on hearing about brain drain over and over again. And I'm on Twitter and I try to read as much as possible of what people are saying. And there's a general sentiment out there that Omaha's not doing enough to keep its young people. And I know I sound like an old person when I say that, because I am old. But and I can't say whether that's true or not true. I'm just reading what people are saying. And look, it's an incredibly charitable city. I mean, you look at Omaha, and one thing you can say all you want. If you want to say anything negative about it, you can. But I don't think there's a city more charitable than Omaha in this country. And so we know that soccer is going to help keep young people here. I think the people in politics here and the legislators know that too. I think we've made a pretty good case that Morrison is not an option. I think we've made a pretty good case that downtown is the main option. Yeah, go ahead.
So there were a lot of questions about the stadium, obviously, and we threw this onto Twitter to ask. But reading the articles, reading the comments on the articles, which is always a dangerous thing.
I don't do that. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't read the comments because the comments are not usually from people who understand.
They're not from people who actually read the article.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things that has been asked, and by diehard fans, casuals, and people who don't follow the team at all, why can't you use Morrison Stadium? Why can't you use Creighton Stadium?
Okay, well, we have a game coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our opening game, March 26th. Creighton was our first choice. Couldn't use it. Wasn't available. And if we tried to schedule 3 games in Creighton during the year, it wouldn't be available. So Creighton's not available for us.
Okay. So scheduling being the primary option.
Yes. And there'd have to be a reconfiguration and fixed seating and things like that. But it's just not available.
Yeah.
It's just not available. And it's a great field, and they've done a great job with it for Creighton, but it's just not available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, especially when people are driving downtown Omaha, you see Creighton Stadium there. And it's a beautiful stadium. Don't get me wrong there. It's hosted big matches and everything. We've had games there that have, drawn very well.
Yeah.
Not one of them's gone very well for us. The other one didn't, but different story, but it really isn't set up for professional soccer. Looking at what the cost to transition Werner Park to be able to handle professional soccer, because that was around $2 million upgrade in 2018, 2019.
Right, 2.5, right.
2.5.
Yeah.
To get the retractable mound, to cut out the corner of the outfield, so you're able to get.
I don't think it's a question of Creighton, of not being able to be a USL stadium. There would be upgrades that would need to be made, but it's just not available.
Okay.
It's just not available to us. But just to take a step back, we're coming at it from an angle that this is a Union Omaha stadium. Union Omaha is the vehicle. Is the vehicle to get this stadium built, but this is a community stadium with 150 events or more. Union Omaha will help pay for it through rent. But this is a community stadium. So this is a stadium where where I envision it downtown, 10 days out of the year, the College World Series is in town.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a captive audience there for College World Series fans whose teams aren't playing or whose teams have been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure the stadium, the best use during those 10 days is Union Omaha. So this is a community asset, and that's the way I think of it. I think the Latino community in Omaha is very underserved from a music standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
We have Maha, we have Outlandia, but who's serving the Latino population as far as a music festival and something that can be inside a stadium that doesn't exist? We can do it. So there's other things besides soccer that justify this, not just a Union Omaha standpoint. We haven't even gotten to women's soccer yet, but this is a community building that is able to be created because Union Omaha can pay rent and be a tenant.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that I think took probably more people by surprise than anything. At least the diehard fans, was when that first article from the Examiner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Came out. There was Union Omaha and a women's team and an academy, which is something we've never pursued before. We've never talked about an academy. The women's team option has been kind of discussed, but very much not a tangible thought.
Yeah, we haven't discussed it because we don't have any open dates at Warner Park. If we had open dates, we would have had the W League last year. I'd love to do the W League in July and August, or June and July, whenever it was.
Well, and being able to continue those rivalries you're building in the men's game to the women's game. A lot of these USL 1 teams have a women's side now, and with the W League, looking to add to that Super League, which is second tier of professional soccer for women in the country that has been the most successful at women's soccer in the world. The men's game is always going to be fun.
So why do you say the Super League is the second tier?
So because W League is established as
The W League is the amateur.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the semi-pro. So the Super League is not coming in as a direct competitor to the NWSL. It's coming in as a professional league as the second tier. So basically the USL Championship to the MLS. So having that new professional environment there, which is something you don't get a lot in women's sports across the world. Men's leagues in Germany, you've got professional down to fourth, fifth tier.
Yeah.
England, it's you're seeing more and more with the Wrexham show out. Fifth tier is still professional. U.S. third tier soccer is professional. Women, first tier or amateur.
Right.
And
nothing in between.
Yeah. So
we're the best. We're the best women's players in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're seeing huge investment in the women's side, even relatively locally with Kansas City, where Kansas City has stadiums. Kansas City.
They're the only one. They're the only one.
They're the only one building a entirely women's stadium downtown, access to public transportation, because they know young people will turn up for it.
I spoke to them a few months ago. Yeah, very interesting what they're doing. It's great.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, it seems like what we're looking to do with the stadium, granted it's not women specific, but soccer downtown connected to transit in an area that has ultimately been left by the wayside when development's been going. Granted, a specific site has not been listed anywhere because deals have not been signed, as far as I understand. But based on the vague description of North Downtown or Midtown, there are lots of opportunities there where there are parking lots with nothing to serve them. Turning those parking lots into a stadium that is drawing in young people, drawing in families, connected to public transit, so you're not having to. I mean, as gas prices, one week they're $4, next week they're $2.50. Getting out to Werner Park for somebody coming from North Omaha, South Omaha, it's not.
No, it's not sustainable.
Yeah,
it's not sustainable. And so, yeah, no, we've done all the studies, and Midtown downtown is where we need to be, and we know that. And this is where we're going to be a game changer once this happens.
Yeah.
So, I know the rail car has been as we say in New York, a third rail issue you don't want to touch, but it's.
Oh, come on.
But people look. Do you build it? Do you build it and then the development comes, or do you wait for the development come and then build it? And it seems that Buffett has come out after the fact and kind of spoken out against it, which was surprising. It wasn't before. I know Mutual's building their tower downtown.
I'm not sure he can comment on it, as he's actually a Mutual employee.
Oh, you are? Are you going to the office? Do you actually go into the office?
My team does not. Each team basically does have their own option whether or not to work.
So when you have a shiny new office building, will you be going into the office?
As of now, no. But obviously to be determined, given that it's in 2025. I'm assuming.
Right. Do you think they'll give you the choice?
Yes. As of now, they're steadfastly saying that we will still have choices. It's a
big risk.
It's technically a smaller building.
It's a smaller building, yeah.
It's more of a statement building, but that's one of those things.
It's a statement building. We want a statement stadium.
Yep. And the nice thing about, as far as I understand, again, there hasn't been a listing of where this is, but based on the areas listed, it's not going to knock down something that's controversial. It's not going to take away from the area where it's being built. It's going to add value. This is a value add to Omaha, not a value redirect.
We're taking down the zoo. We're building a stadium.
I mean, considering Werner Park is the replacement for Rosenblatt, like this seems like
It's going to be a 10,000 seat owl sanctuary.
No, it is not taking down anything.
But it's always been kind of at least heavily implied that a stadium was part of it. And what has been talked about with this is moving 10,000 seats, which puts us well above what is average attendance for USL 1, puts us closer to the higher attended games and teams in championship.
Would it be considered the third largest soccer specific stadium in the championship?
Well, I don't know.
I want to say Louisville City's bigger.
Yeah.
I want to say Sacramento's bigger.
Never been there.
We're
still, by the way, we're still debating it. We're not locked in on 10,000. We talk about it all the time. Do we create some, smaller and create some scarcity, or do we have some extra capacity for, just that we see? It depends on where we see demand.
But more to the point I was trying to get to is, it has been stated now that if a stadium is built, Union Omaha will not be playing in League One.
That is correct.
That they would be moving up to the championship.
100%.
And as much as we like to complain about how far we have to drive for games or fly for games to go visit. You've got Des Moines, who, similar situation, trying to keep young talent, trying to attract young talent. Building a downtown stadium.
Trying to build a downtown stadium. That is moving backwards right now.
Yeah, they did demolition for the super fun site, but trying to build that downtown stadium, getting city buy-in on it, doing similar steps to try and attack.
Trying to build a downtown stadium with an owner who just use city dollars to build a office building, from what I understand, and promised a certain amount of jobs that may or may not have happened, is what I heard. And this is me hearing something secondhand, not knowing the facts. And we've tried to have an ownership and a company that's been completely transparent and authentic. with both our fans and city government.
Mhm.
We're not focused on Italy, we're focused here. And so it's a little bit different of a situation. And like I said before, the spirit of giving and the charitable works that happen here in Omaha are much different than Des Moines. So it's just a different scenario.
Do you think that's why you've gotten what sounds like a favorable response from the legislature as of now?
Which for
The
which
fact
reason?
The fact that you've been very transparent about basically everything since the start of the club.
I try to, I think so. I think over the past, 10 or 11 years, I think, I'm not somebody who comes in once a year, sits in the box and then leaves and watches a Storm Chaser game or a soccer game. I've come here and really tried to meet everybody I can. I find myself connecting people who live in Omaha and they've never met, and I'm like, what, it took a New Yorker to come here and introduce you? But I probably have more friends here that I see than in Omaha than I do in New York. Not I think, I know I do. And I've made this a home. So I don't think we would be having the success that we're having right now moving forward. And, success is getting it done, and we're not close yet at all. But I think that it's been kind of, you spend the time and you just got to spend the time. There's no shortcuts. You just got to work and spend the time.
So, one of the questions that came on Twitter, I want to say it was Chris Headley, but with the funding, obviously, LB 621 is the primary vessel to fund this, which would be a grant of up to $50 million based on what is invested into it on your side.
Mm-hmm.
The question came up was, without state or local funding, would the ownership group, including yourself, be able to fund a stadium and be able to make a stadium and keep teams viable with a women's league and academy without that funding available?
No.
Okay.
No, unless the charitable side of Omaha is willing to, buy 100% of it,
Yep.
But look, we're gonna pay for it through rent.
Mhm.
It's not like we're not gonna put any money into it.
Yep.
We've already capitalized the team pretty heavily, so we've shown that we're ready to invest.
Yep.
And we're not looking for anything for free, but there's some owners out there that can pay for things and do it 100% on their own, and sometimes they do, but we're not an ownership group that can do that.
All right, I'm gonna move off stadium because,
Well, there's so much more to talk about.
well, I mean, there is, but there's some great articles out there, and people's time would be better spent writing their legislative representatives.
And yes, please, whenever you see any news about it, especially good news, tweet, retweet, put your comments out there, because we need the supporter support when things come out about this. We need all the support we can to show the legislators and show people that we are looking out for the young people here, and we want to do something that keeps young people, Gen Zs and millennials in Omaha, creates diversity, and that we don't have here. So that's my commercial. It may not be the last commercial of the podcast, but that's my commercial.
Right. I mean, we're here to follow the
Shameless
team.
promotion.
Yep. I mean, I just saying, as someone not from the metro, JR is also not from the metro. We both came together over love of soccer, which manifested through Union Omaha, and we're here and continuing to want to stay in Omaha, and not, I'd say, in a small part due to Union Omaha and the culture built around it.
Yeah.
So,
but it's the time spent, and the so when somebody puts a comment on a newspaper ad or on Twitter, it's like, who's this guy coming in and taking our our surplus dollars or our tax dollars, and like I've invested a lot of money in this and
Mhm.
time in this community. So when you say why don't I read the comments, because somebody who's leasing that is they're just not educated, they just don't know.
Yeah.
So not going to call them any nasty names, they just don't know.
Yeah. The unfortunate part for me is I don't have a representative dog in this fight, living on the other side of the river in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it happy to support it, but it's not my tax dollars. If it were my tax dollars, I would now be writing in as much as I could. Continue to spend at our casinos; they're great. But really, with everything going there, Union Omaha has evolved this year.
Mm-hmm.
It feels kind of like a renewed purpose with everything, and over the past 2019 is when the club was announced, the franchise was announced. Well, not franchise, but expansion was announced. May of 2019, brand reveal October. Then we've had 3 very good seasons under the stewardship of Jay Mims. This year, Jay has stepped back, is no longer with the club, and we've brought in Dominic Casciata, who we've interviewed on this pod. Seems like a fantastic guy, but you've got to sign off on any hire at that level.
Mm-hmm.
What made him the guy?
Well, first of all, I trust, we trusted in Peter to really meet with all the potential candidates. And I said to him at the beginning of the process, and it was a short process because we didn't have a lot of time between Jay resigning and then when we needed to start, I said, take a few weeks. I want you to interview as many potential coaches as possible. Give me your best 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave us his best 3. They were all great candidates. And Larry, myself, and Marty were on the Zoom calls together. And we all decided unanimously that Dominic was the right choice. We loved his energy. We loved that he was from El Paso and that we know the folks in El Paso and can get great references. We loved that he was used to sharing a team sharing a soccer team with a baseball team, and that that means something.
Yeah.
But from the soccer side and the the winning side, he just had a great attitude. He had a great attitude, and I said, this is the way the conversation went, and we talked about salary levels, and I was like, look, if we right now, we have we're spending, I think we're in the middle of the pack on salaries as far as USL League One. Once we're on the road to the stadium and that kind of plan is locked in, and we're raising money along that route, and I've told Peter this is like we're gonna be a little looser.
Yep.
We're gonna be a little looser. Right now we don't have that yet.
Yep.
So this is kind of that bridge year. But boy, it'll be exciting. We have a stadium and we have a financial model, and we're putting together the numbers. I think it'll be really exciting. And Dominic was willing to work with that. And there was some and he, it's his first head coaching job here, and he was super excited to do this. And we said, look, it's a baseball stadium. Is that going to be a problem? It's a grass field, but there's no grass fields to practice on. Is that going to be a problem? And, we want to go through every pain point that we've realized over the past 4 years that's been an issue, because I didn't want someone coming in here and then being surprised.
Yep.
And he's like, I get it. I understand. I'm ready for it. And he's been great. I've only met him through Zoom up until a couple days ago, and I met him for the first time this week.
Well, he seems to be quickly trying to integrate himself into the community.
Yep. Seems
to be fully bought into the club's ideals. One means all, people, place, purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There is Twitter question. I think Hunter asked this one that I think we can tie in here. He's new here.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't know his restaurants yet. what would be your 5 recommendations for Dom to try here?
Well, I told him if he starts winning games, he'll never pay for a meal again.
Well, he's bringing in some talent that seems like he means it.
Yeah, yes. Oh, what I tell well, my favorite restaurant, shameless plug for our sponsor, is downstairs, the Committee Chop House. It's expensive though.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
I mean, I've never had a bad meal there. We're recording this one at the Cottonwood in Blackstone, which is team sponsor. So
Yep. And if you're hungry for a steak, you come to the Cottonwood. You come to the Committee Chop House.
But
yeah, and I that's my favorite. I love the sushi place downtown. What's it called? Sake Bombs or no?
Blue.
Blue. That's
Blue.
it. Blue. Mahogany, of course, great place. 801. Not as good as the steak here, but they have the fried lobster.
All
Good
right.
place to get that in town. Yeah. And the best barbecue I've ever had is Porky Butts.
All right.
And I don't want to knock the barbecue we have at the stadium.
But I mean, Porky Butts is good.
That wins awards nationally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Papio. I love
Papio.
Papio. I love Papio too.
Papio's a great story, good barbecue inside the
I
stadium.
love Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne's a great guy, fun character.
Yeah.
He's there every game. I swear he's watching the game as much as he's
but Dominic can't eat the barbecue during the game, so they're out.
that I'm sure he could find a way.
Okay.
Like he seems passionate enough. Maybe he gets red carded, has to go up in the stands, gets barbecue.
Camera's also at his back. So.
Yep.
Hey, wasn't there? I think there was. Was it a player or a coach in Madison that was chugging the beers at the end of the game?
That was the coach.
That was the
I think.
coach.
Unless that was.
Well, a couple years ago,
Yeah.
they had a defender named
They had a-
Connor Tobin that would.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's
go to the
right.
sideline.
Is he still with them? Did he have any success?
I believe he's either playing USL 2 or he has gone to retirement.
He moved.
So maybe he drank too much.
Well,
That
he
part of
was
the problem
also
during games.
34.
He drank too much during
Yeah,
games.
he was a veteran.
Yeah,
But
because he moved up to Vermont Green and was a player coach up there.
Okay.
Which that seems like a fun club.
I just remember like seeing this
Yeah.
guy and I was like, oh, I wish he played for us because that's so much fun. I don't know if he was any good or not, but it looked like fun.
I mean, if this means it's more fun. I mean, Maradona did a bump of coke while coaching one time.
Who gives a hoot does not condone cocaine use.
Well, I'll be content to on the away games, like whoever's watching, the away games. I like to buy beer for who's ever traveled, and I will continue to do that.
Well,
Just in case anyone was wondering.
are you going to make it to more Northern Colorado games now?
I've looked at the schedule and I am not sure. Oh, because I moved to Aspen. Yeah. What other Northern Colorado games?
August for sure.
All right, I will not.
Because I was trying to plan away trips, and August is not gonna work.
I don't know my schedule for away games yet.
Yeah, I'm planning the annual trip to Greenville. That's the only one I have locked in. I'd like to get down to Lexington. They've got a fun culture.
Are you gonna
building
hang
there.
out with Devin while you're there?
In Greenville?
It's gonna. You know what?
He went
Yeah.
didn't burn bridges. It hurts a little bit.
It's gonna. I love that kid when he played for us.
Yep.
I really did.
It's gonna hurt
And I
watching
told
him against.
Peter, if he scores against us, it's gonna fucking suck. Okay.
Yep.
And if he scores 2 against us, I'm gonna look at him and I'm gonna.
Well, so long as he doesn't do a knee slide celebration.
he's totally gonna do a knee slide celebration.
I mean, that was Jay Kroll last
But
year.
that's okay. I'm the only one that defends him on that when he did it towards his own bench. I
Did
think
it towards his own bench. I'll give him that. But come on, and now he's playing up in
Devin,
Madison.
he did such a great job for us a couple of years
Oh,
ago, and it was so exciting. And he had that ESPN goal,
Yep.
from outside the box. So I'm happy to see. I know he went to Memphis and didn't get a lot of playing time there.
I think he had an injury.
Oh, he had an injury as well?
somewhere there.
And I want him to do well, just not against us.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
then
it was
he
always
and
for that.
Leonard played the same position, and he just took all the minutes up.
I think so. I think there was because I saw him on crutches at one point, but regardless, continuing the career. Greenville is a fun team. Um, he scores against us, he's dead to us.
I assume if you're going to Greenville, it'd be the June game.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't go the August game.
No,
No,
I've been there late July. I do not.
Well, no,
It's hot.
you'll have plans.
Oh.
That's my wedding day.
Okay.
All right, fine.
When's the wedding?
August 26th.
August 26th. Okay.
All right.
Where are you getting married at the Cottonwood?
The original plan was halftime of the Union Omaha game.
Okay.
Great cheap way to get guests.
And don't have to worry about catering.
Can I grease the skids on that?
I think we're in too deep now.
All right.
But
Well, if you're looking to get married, the Cottonwood's a great place.
the pod is not sponsored, but the team is. With Dom coming in, we've made some great signings, some great championship signings. Loney from Lou City, bringing back some great returners. With that setting us up for what seems to be another year where we're contenders. We've got a couple new expansion sides that seem to be taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Last year we had Fuego and Northern Colorado, which it seemed a little rushed. It was kind of tough. As far as I know, Northern Colorado is still jumping between places. Still don't have tickets 2 seasons in. But with Lexington and Knoxville, those are 2 competitors coming in. Which of those 2, which one are you more excited for? Or I'm not going to say scared, because we shouldn't be scared of anybody, but puts you a little bit more uneasy as an owner who's also a fan.
I'm not you know why I'm not uneasy? When we won that first championship and we made that Open Cup run, like, I feel like we've accomplished a lot. Like, everything for this year's house money. And
Well, we can't rest on the laurels.
No, we can't rest on the laurels. But I can't be nervous about teams that are just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
I also look at a team, how sustainable is it? What's their, is their attendance? So you talk about Fuego.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been able to draw many fans, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's all part of the energy. It's all part of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, and maybe this is not naive on my part, but if you can't draw, then you can't build excitement. And if you can't build excitement, you can't win. And so Colorado as well, I just feel, and I don't know how Knoxville is drawing. I don't know how Lexington is drawing. So really that's kind of the way, we led the league, and we tied with Madison, and Madison's got a great environment. I'm surprised that they haven't won more games, because they've got the complete environment there and they run such a great operation. And I think when they put it all together, I think they'll be great.
I think with Madison, what they have on the field is only lacking in their player facilities. As just looking at it from a strictly,
but I could see them. I could see them getting a major improvement.
Well, I believe last year, end of the season, they announced that they were putting in significant dollars to improve.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was
facilities.
public, but yes, that's true. And they're the guys who run the team are like top shelf. Like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And when we were starting a team, I went up to Madison and just sat in their offices for a day and asked a lot of questions, and they were great.
We talked about first couple years of a new franchise and building momentum. Were you surprised at how important building momentum was for a young team, or did you just think that how it starts is what it's going to be?
No, not surprised at all. I always said from day one, we're not building a team, we're creating a movement, and I still feel that way. Look, we're not gonna win the championship every year, but as long as the movement continues to build and grow and get larger and larger, and to me, and this is the way I think of it, to me, It's more important that we add new fans
Mhm.
to each game, and that everybody who comes and enjoys it brings 5 and 10 people, than anything else.
Mhm.
So if we win the game or we lose the game, I want to win every game,
Yeah.
and I would love to win every game. But to me, the victory is having the casual soccer fan show up and saying, "Wow, you know what? I don't know a lot about soccer, but I can really feed off the energy here, and,
Mhm.
and I want to be here with my friends."
Yeah.
And that's what we need right now. We need to build the movement to get to the stadium. And we all know that every soccer team that's played in a baseball stadium that ended up in a soccer stadium increased their attendance by 3 or 4x.
Yeah.
So we, for a baseball stadium, are right where we need to be. If you give me 3x as we move into the soccer stadium, the movement's successful.
Yeah.
And we're COVID slowed us down a little bit, but we made the front page of the paper this week, and when we won the championship, we made the front page of the sports section.
Yeah.
So something's happened.
Yeah. No, and I mean, especially looking at Omaha, it really needs to retain that talent to be able to stay on the track where it's at.
Mhm.
It fell just shy of 1 million people in the metro this last census, where it was prior to COVID was trending up. I was trending to hit that. And
No, but look, I speak to I speak to young people, and again, I sound so old when I say young people, but
you've got a 2-year-old,
Yeah.
like and an infant, like you can't be that old.
This is true. But I'm 57, and I feel like most guys, my age are probably, being grandfathers. But
Yeah.
I feel like this will keep me younger and around longer. So,
Yeah.
but this started out as a sports investment. This has become a crusade for me, and it's become something like I've made a difference in New York.
Mhm.
I've employed 5,000 people at one time, and I made a difference in their lives, creating jobs. But I never made a difference to New York, in a significant way towards a stadium or toward. It's been more the people in my business, and my business has added value. I never expected this, but out of the blue, Omaha, Nebraska, when somebody said, "Hey, you want to meet with Warren Buffett?" Sure, I absolutely want to. I have the ability to make a major difference in a city where I love the people here. Just the Midwestern values, and something that has become very important to me to make a difference in. And I can't say I got here and I was like, "Oh, Omaha, I want to make a difference." I came to Omaha to buy a baseball team because that was my dream, was to own a baseball team. But it's become very, very different over the past 10 years. And this is not just a sports investment anymore. This is something very personal.
Yeah, Omaha does that. It's just kind of this weird thing that gets under your skin, and then it's like, okay, I'm stuck.
Omaha's in the balls.
But no, to that point.
Sorry,
like,
I went
no.
off on a tangent. Sorry.
No, but there was one question that I wasn't sure actually get to, because didn't really fit with anything else. But when you were getting to the point of investing in a soccer team, you had the Storm Chasers at that point for 8-9 years. You were also looking at G League. Well, what was then not the G League, was D League, or
It's still
Yeah, it was the D League back. It was the D League back. then.
yeah. But the question came out like, are you looking at the G League or professional volleyball as investments in Omaha, for creating more sports opportunities here? Because as you've found, it seems with soccer, there's an appetite for all the sports here.
Right. No, so I think I've gone on the record on this that we had a deal with the NBA to buy a D League team for $6.2 million. They said reach out to as many NBA teams as possible. I had a meeting in New York City with one of the player development guys. It was the assistant GM actually of the Nuggets.
Mhm.
We had a very nice meeting. I said, "I want to move your D League team to Omaha." He said, "You'll hear back from me." We never spoke again. A few months later, Adam Silver said that he decided that only NBA teams can own the D League teams.
Okay.
So even if I wanted to, I couldn't.
Okay.
At the time, we looked at Ralston. Baxter was still in construction. We looked at Baxter, so we got to wear the hard hats and walked around. And yeah, so that's what happened with. So I can't. I'd love to.
Yeah.
And as far as volleyball, coincidentally, somebody brought up professional volleyball to me about 2 hours ago when I was sitting at Warner Park, and I knew nothing about it.
Mhm.
I know that Nebraska volleyball is huge, but I also know collegiate sports are it's different. It's easier to attain success there. We've seen it with the College World Series.
Yeah, it's not a 1-to-1.
No,
There's
I mean,
also generations of fandom
Yeah.
involved with collegiate
Mhm.
athletics.
no, but the College World Series, and this is sacrilegious, but the level of baseball when you watch AAA baseball all the time is just not good.
Yeah.
It's just bad baseball. But it's college,
Mhm.
and the people are passionate. And I was there, and I forgot which team came in. I was in the lobby of the Hilton, and the players walked in, and they had lost, and they were in tears, and they were getting a standing ovation, and you don't get that in minor league baseball, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's great. Even though the level of baseball is not great, the passion is there and the fandom is there. So
Yeah.
I get it. And the Nighthawks were wildly successful. And I know the Omaha Beef, when Jay Noddle owned them,
Mhm.
and I spoke with him about this, he brought in former Nebraska stars, football
Yeah.
stars, which is brilliant,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know the popularity. I know that the popularity of volleyball is great here. Do they bring former University of Nebraska Husker volleyball players to the professional team, and maybe that works? I don't know enough about it.
So what I'm hearing is it's something that you haven't dug into, but you haven't shot it down yet.
I mean, nobody's asked me.
You heard it here first. Gary Gree is bringing.
I know nothing about it. All I know is
Yeah.
that it seems like my gut instinct is that it's a Ralston Arena, Baxter Arena, but not full event,
Yep.
not a CHI event. But I don't know anything about
Yeah.
volleyball, and
No.
that's what it feels like to me. But it's a different model when you have to pay the players, you have to feed the players, you have to house the players,
Yeah.
and you don't have college attendance. It's hard to balance out the numbers sometimes.
Yeah. Moving it back to soccer, that
Mhm.
seemed like a good opportunity to get in. Oh, questions. I mean, we'll take questions for anything.
Let's
Yeah.
let's buy a roller derby team. How's that? That'd be cool.
I mean, I'd kind of like a battle bots team. Like I forget where I was watching that the other day, but that's fun.
You know you're not going to get to drive. Right?
You know, it's one
Oh,
thing I
come
don't.
on.
I don't want to own as a pickleball team.
Yeah, pickleball seems it's growing in popularity, but I don't ever see that going anything more
I
than
don't know. I
rec.
watched it the other day, and I'd rather watch tennis.
Yeah, yeah. But pulling it back to soccer and what the steps that have happened this year, the contract with Nike expired. We did not re-up with Nike, and we, as club, announced we're going with Hummel. What about that relationship excites you the most? Like, what made Hummel the choice for Union Omaha?
To me, I mean, Peter may have different reasons. To me, it always frustrated me to no end that we couldn't get enough 2Xs, 3Xs, 4Xs, and every fan, no matter how small or how large they are, deserves to have a soccer jersey.
Yep.
And the fact that Nike couldn't do that really pissed me off for 3 years. So that was something that really bothered me a lot. And Hummel gave us a better economic deal. We have less lead time. We have smaller order minimums. and we can take care of our fans and our inventory and our economics in a better way. Hummel is, if you get extra large, it's a true extra large. If you get Nike, I wear an extra large, I had to get a double XL, which is ridiculous. Nike was tight. Nike's great quality. I don't know how the players feel about it. Maybe they like Nike more, but Nike as a USL League One team with just weren't, they have other teams that are more important to them.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a good fit for me. It wasn't a good fit from I wouldn't say from day one, but it's just the wrong fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like the fan reaction to Hummel has been overwhelmingly in favor of the partnership. They've been making huge strides. Madison has had them for years, done some great kits. The first kit that was released, I believe it's the primary kit, was for the most part designed in-house, which is something you wouldn't get with Nike.
No, exactly. But I love what Madison has done with their merchandise. I'm jealous of what Madison has done with their merchandise. And I want to be more like Madison when it comes to our merchandise. They
Don't
just
ever
do it
give
so
us a
well.
drip kit. Just don't do it. No, it does. The options that Hummel has and what can pair in definitely seem to be. I wasn't expecting to see so many people wearing the Hummel gear as quickly as I have, and it really has kind of taken the fandom by force. And I think
Nike's just it's great quality. I love wearing it, and I'll still wear my Nike stuff.
Yeah,
but it's just that Hummel's just easier to deal with for a team of our size, and I can't tell you, like, I don't want to belabor the point, but the fact that some of our fans couldn't get jerseys that were sized properly for them really frustrated me.
Yeah. All right. I think we're getting close to the point where I'm going to have some difficulty editing this before I fall asleep tonight.
You have to edit it tonight?
We'll get it out in the morning.
Okay.
But anything that you want to kind of bring up to the fan base that you want to convey that we haven't covered here?
No, I just to our fan base. More important than anything, help create the atmosphere that we need to be created. There's going to be more goals scored this year. I bought you guys a shit ton of smoke. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to buy for the supporters group. I know it's supposed to be organic, but I'm sorry, I just did it, and I want you to light up the smoke. Not just one per goal. It's got to be 5 or 6 per goal.
Yeah.
I know. Kidding aside, when I went to LAFC and all these other teams, the vibe from the smoke is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The vibe is what's going to keep people coming.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking of bringing 2 people, bring 5 people. If you're bringing 5 people, bring 10 people. But we need to continue to pack the stadium as much as possible, and we need to create the vibe. And we're going to win some games, we're going to lose some games, but we're going to have fun.
I mean, it sounds like everything that's going on with the supporters and everything that it's kind of building for this year. Last year, just it was we just come off the high of winning a championship.
And the high of the Open Cup.
The high of the Open Cup.
And last year was just a real marathon.
Yeah.
Once we got to the quarterfinal and our schedule got compact, it
totally
just felt like...
I mean, a lot of kids who had never played in a season that long. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Everything that happened in the end kind of makes sense now, even though it hurt at the time. And, if we make an Open Cup run again, we get excited about that, right? We want to win as many games as possible, and we'll worry about the end of the season, when it happens.
Well, it seems like we've been making some great signings, some good depth signings as well, building a solid roster. We've got the veterans coming back that have been with some of them with Union Omaha since the beginning. And then others that are seasoned pros that are used to this, guys who have, great a high ceiling to be able to grow this club and the success
Yeah.
on the pitch and off the pitch. Getting the players out into the community more is
And
something.
and I love that Connor's back, and
Yeah.
you know, he put it perfectly to me a couple of years ago. He's like, you haven't been around long enough to realize this, but you guys have created the perfect blend of front office, technical staff, fan base, and ownership, kind of all pulling together. And like, you don't. He basically said, you just started doing this. You may not know any better, but this is unique and this is special, and this is unique and special whether we win a championship or not. It's just got to be unique and special because we're all in it together. And I guess that would be the message to the fans.
That's a good one there. But-
That's a good one to
I-
close on.
I
think
you get
Mic
it
drop.
better.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Well, no, I got one last question. Who gives a hoot?
We
We
do.